Ram recently updated its 1500 series truck, making it more competitive with the likes of the Ford F-150, Chevrolet Silverado 1500, and GMC Sierra 1500. But the 2500 series was lagging behind. This truck was pretty out of date, especially when you compared it to things like the Ford Super Duty and the GMC Sierra and Chevy Silverado HD. But now, just like the 1500 series, the 2500 and 3500 series have received a facelift for the 2025 model year. Can these updates that Ram brought make it more competitive with their crosstown rivals from Detroit? Let's find out. Now let's start with an exterior walk around where the Ram 2500 receives a pretty notable facelift for the 2025 model year. We now have full LED headlights and LED taillights on the 2025 model. You get this new updated grille. I think all of the HD trucks, maybe with the exception of the Ford Super Duty, have gotten just pretty aggressive looking. I would maybe go so far as to say a little bit ugly, but that is going to be to your personal taste. We've got a lot of chrome in this grille, including the chromed out Ram logo spelled out, although the grille does change quite significantly depending on which trim level you get. There are some Rams that have kind of an all black finish here. The Power Wagon has kind of like a big black grille as well, so it really does depend a lot on which trim you get. Now, we have the Sport package here on this Laramie trim level. So the Laramie is kind of like a premium trim level. It's not like the top trims, kind of similar to what you'd get with like a Lariat on the Ford side. Now, the Sport package is going to get us these 20-inch wheels with this kind of big Ram logo here in the center. They're decent looking wheels. Definitely, I have no problem with them. I don't think they're the sportiest or the most elegant. We do have our 2500 heavy duty big hood bulge here. That definitely makes it a little bit hard to see over the hood, but it's all well and good because, you know, you should be maybe used to driving a big truck like this. We do have our marker lights up there because we have such a wide vehicle. We do also have our towing mirrors that extend, so we have the main portion and then the lower towing portion as well. Do have blind spot monitoring on this as well. The Cummins turbo diesel logo is going to let us know that we do have the optional engine on this truck, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We also have a full length running board. This is a fixed running board. You can get a retractable one on the Ram 2500, but this is just a fixed running board. Very nice, very easy to put your foot on, and I do like that it extends all the way back here to the bed, making it easier to grab something right here out of the bed. Speaking of which, while we are on the exterior, I should point out that there are 3 cab styles for this truck. You can get it as a regular cab, so that is just a 2-door model. You can have the crew cab, which is what you see here, or you can actually get something called a mega cab that actually extends a little bit beyond that rear door. It gives you a little bit more legroom. It gives you a little bit of storage behind the rear seats as well. I think Ram is the only company that offers something like that, which is kind of cool. I do really like that. And then we have the 6-foot bed. It's about 6.5 feet, maybe a little bit under that, but you can also get an 8-foot bed if you want. Now we have the nice damped one here. So we have the Laramie badge here. You can see it kind of has this interesting finish around it. Because we have that Sport package, it is going to say Sport right here. We've got Ram spelled out in big chrome 4x4, letting us know that we have optional 4-wheel drive. The tailgate is going to be nicely damped. It is very high up. This is a heavy duty truck after all, but we do at least have a very easy to use step. You can just deploy it like so. That's going to allow you to get in here. Now, we do have some bed lights in here, and you can get this with a more powerful onboard generator, but right now we just have the normal 115 volt, 400 watt AC outlet back here. Now, the tailgate is nicely damped, so it is really easy and light to close it, even though the tailgate itself is actually pretty heavy. Now, as we step inside the Ram 2500 HD Laramie, I want to point out once again that the Laramie trim is a little bit more premium, but it is not the nicest version of this truck. that you can buy. The Limited and the Limited Longhorn are a little bit more premium, but we do have these nice leather seats that do have a little bit of suede in them as well. We've got the Laramie logo stitched in here as well. These seats are actually optional as part of a big package that includes quite a lot. I'll actually show you the window sticker to kind of go over like what is available on that, because you can actually get the Laramie with a 3 across bench seat, but we happen to have the bucket seats that you see here with this kind of normal center console. But if you get the bench seat, you'll have a folding unit that can actually be flipped up to form a third seat. So you can actually fit 6 people in this truck if you want. Now we do have power adjustment here with a little bit of lumbar as well, and these are heated and ventilated seats. I'm going to mention a few times in this review that the Laramie, I think, might be the best all-around package for people who want a truck that is livable and a little bit luxurious on the inside, but aren't willing to spend the top dollar for one of the upper trims that Ram offers. Now we do also have a heated steering wheel, push button start here. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up. And you're immediately going to see, if you've been in any of the previous generation Ram 2500 models, we've got a lot of updates here. First and foremost, we do have a digital gauge cluster, 12.3 inches. You have this kind of reduced display here, but if I scroll up, you can actually have kind of a normal display, very similar to what the analog gauges on a Ram truck used to look like. Really like this improvement here. The steering wheel is pretty similar to what you'll find on a normal Ram. We do have one of the 2 optional displays here. An 8-inch screen is going to be standard. That's on sort of the more basic trims. This is the larger 12-inch screen. You're familiar with this. It was in the Ram 1500 for years. It's really nice. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto right now, paired to an Alpine audio system, although you can get Harman Kardon in this 2500 series truck as well. The Alpine is pretty good. The Harman Kardon is honestly kind of amazing. So if you're a real audiophile, you might want to try to get one of the trims that has the Harman Kardon, but I do think the Alpine is quite good. This infotainment system I really like because it's pretty usable. We do have buttons around it and knobs, tuning knob and volume knob with a mute button, but it's real quick and easy to just hit one of the fan buttons. I don't have to do it on the touchscreen if I don't want to. So it's a nice pairing of both touch and physical controls. There is also a 14.5-inch screen that you can get on the Ram 2500. The upper trims are going to have that, and you can also get a 10.25-inch passenger display that lives over here. You can actually kind of watch streaming media and stuff on it. I think it's kind of useless. Like I said, I think the Laramie has all of what you need and none of the fluff. I want to point out that we have a big column mounted shifter. I know a bunch of Ram vehicles at one point used a rotating knob, but we do have a big old nice column shifter. People are going to like that. I think truck guys really like having a big knob like this to hold in their hand, but Ram kind of got the best of both worlds, because although this does function like a typical column mounted shifter, it is actually electronic. This is not actually attached to anything. So kind of funny on Ram for hiding that from people, though they might think this is real. It does have a nice clicky feel to it, but it is all electronic. If I go ahead and throw it into reverse, we're going to see our backup camera. We also have a cargo camera for a little bit of a different view. What you're not going to get on this trim, at least not standard, is a 360 camera. That is, I think, the one thing I said that this truck has pretty much all the features you need. That is one feature that I really do wish it had, was a 360 camera, because this is a very, very large truck. Even though I think it is one of the most maneuverable in its class, I still would prefer a 360 camera for parking it. Now, diving a little bit deeper into the technology, we've got tons of charging outlets, 2 USBs and 2 USB-C ports, aux jack. This is a wireless charger. You can actually charge 2 phones at the same time, and they have a little cable organizer if you want to somehow plug them in as well. We've got this huge center console area with our cup holders, some change, little storage area here. Our armrest has a little bit of storage in it. You can go ahead and lift that up. It actually has some useful trigonometry and equations and stuff that might help you out on a job site. Down here, we've got a little subtle hint. It's a little Easter egg that shows some different Ram trucks there on this little divider piece. You can actually go ahead and, I believe, flip this up and now that's going to create kind of a division between these two segments. This piece actually slides forward and back, so you can have a big open area right here, or you can have your cup holders in place, so I really love that. We've got our glove box down here, upper glove box up here, little bit of storage up here, huge amount of storage in the doors, door pockets there, lower door pockets with cup holders there. So Ram has really maximized. This is a pickup truck, like, you know, these things just have a lot of places to put stuff, and Ram just has one of the best interiors in the truck segment. I really do like how premium these are, and this isn't even the nicest version of the Ram HD that you can get. Now, in terms of crew comfort on this crew cab model, we've got just over 40 inches of legroom back here. This thing is honestly massive, and Ram is the only company that offers a mega cab, so a little bit extended back here. That's going to get you over 43 inches of legroom. That'll also give you the ability to slide and recline these seats, which is kind of nice, but you do lose a little bit of practicality that I'm going to show you a little bit later here on this crew cab model. You can see I am about 5'9" on a good day. I fit easily behind myself, no problems at all. And even on this Laramie trim, we've got 4 USBs back here, we've got a household outlet right here, air vents, cup holders, and then we actually have more cup holders here on the floor, which is kind of interesting, and then more cup holders here on the center armrest. So we are good on cup holders here. And then if you don't actually have people to put back here, Ram has some pretty interesting cargo solutions. Super easy to just lift up the seats. You actually get a little light here on the bottom of the seat, which is kind of nice. And I like that Ram has them kind of just lock into place. You don't have to pull a secondary lever to then get them back down, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to lift up these, very easy to do with one hand. And now we've got this interesting piece right here. I assume that maybe you could flip these up, and now you can put some small items in here and they won't roll forward and they won't roll back. But that's not really the purpose of flipping these up. What you can do is you can actually flip these down, and now these act as kind of legs for this table. I can go ahead and show you what this side looks like. Flipping it down, it actually keeps the cup holder, which is kind of interesting. Maybe you have your dog back here and you want to buy an accessory bowl that kind of sticks in there, but the hole is there. And now we have a really nice flat load floor that you can load up your Ram with stuff. That is a really cool feature, but again, we are still not done. If I flip these up the other way, now I have a little bit of storage underneath here. You can see that it is hidden, and you can just kind of click these down to click that into place. And I'm still not done, because if I lift up the carpet here, you're going to see that we do have some additional storage in here that's quite deep. So many different places for you to put stuff here on the Ram 2500 and the Mega Cab option if you somehow need even more space. All right, so let's get out on the road in the new 2025 Ram 2500 HD. Now, while the 1500 Ram is only available with either a V6 or a new twin turbocharged Hurricane inline 6, the 2500 series is still available with a 6.4 liter Hemi V8. So Ram has not completely abandoned the Hemi, for all of you internet commenters out there who bemoan the fact that 8-cylinder engines are dying away. And that engine produces 405 horsepower and 429 pound-feet of torque, going out to an 8-speed automatic through either the rear wheels only or optional 4-wheel drive. But we've got the optional engine on this truck, the 6.7 liter Cummins inline 6 turbo diesel. Now, it's funny that the V8 is the base engine and the inline 6 is actually the optional engine, but anybody who knows anything about diesel trucks knows that this Cummins engine is an absolute beast. Full iron block. They only sell it in what they call the high output state of tune now on all Ram 2500s. There's no low output version available anymore. 430 horsepower, which is like a pretty decent number, not best in class. The high output version of the Ford Power Stroke is definitely above that. And 1,075 pound-feet of torque is a really good number. Again, not best in class, but still really good. Good enough, in fact, that Ram says 70% of all of their HD customers are going to opt for the Cummins turbo diesel. Now, this engine is technically a carryover engine from last year, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have significant changes. They redesigned the block. It has new heavy-duty pistons, a new intake manifold, a new turbocharger, a larger intake and exhaust valves. These are all meant to improve the noise, vibration, and harshness, also to improve the fuel economy, which is something that you might consider on a car like this. That might seem a little bit silly to you, but when you're driving a lot of miles, fuel economy really matters, especially when you have a big tank like this. But I will say I've driven now all of the turbo diesels in this class, and this thing is really smooth. I mean, maybe the V8 and the Chevy and the Ford make a better sound than this, but paired with the 8-speed automatic, which it used to be paired with a 6-speed, so now it is paired with a new HD Torque Flight automatic transmission. This is just such a smooth powertrain. It delivers really good power, really good passing ability. I do really love the Cummins. And in terms of drivability, I'm on kind of a windy back road right now. I think Ram, because the Ram is probably my favorite truck to drive in the full-size category with the 1500 series. It's the most car-like to me. I think it has the best steering. It has available air suspension. It rides really well. The GM trucks and the Ford Super Duty are both really rough and bumpy, especially when you're not towing anything or you don't have a big heavy payload in your bed. This really isn't. This rides really well. The steering is so light. I find this way more maneuverable, especially in parking lot speeds, compared to the GM or the Ford trucks in this segment. So if you're looking for something that we already deemed has a really nice interior, but also something that doesn't feel intimidating to drive despite its size, I think this is the best option. We just went over a bump and I would have been bouncing all over the place in the other trucks, not in this. And honestly, the turning radius, while not amazing, this is still a really big truck, I don't have to do a ton of effort here. Even when I'm doing, I don't even need to do a 3-point turn. I'm actually amazed. Thought I was gonna need to do a 3-point there, didn't. Steering super easy. I don't have to be tugging at the wheel. I just remember driving the Chevy and GMC trucks and really having to use my arm strength to kind of move the truck around. Not in this. This is just really nice. It can even start in second gear to give you smoother acceleration. The truck and the transmission know when it is unladen, when it is not towing anything, and it can start the truck off in second. That's going to avoid the 1-2 shift, which can be a little rough in some of this vehicle's competitors. So it's all about drivability, and I think that's where Ram has really made their mark on the trucks. They don't have the absolute best towing capacity. They don't have the absolute best horsepower and torque in the class. But if you want a truck that just kind of does everything well and doesn't just suck to drive every day, the Ram, just like the Ram 1500, this 2500 might be my new favorite in the segment. Now, if you want to know about like towing capacities and stuff like that, 36,610 pounds is like the max that you can tow with one of these. 23,000 if you only get the gas engine. The one we have almost certainly isn't the max towing. You have to look at all of the Ram specifications. They have like a breakdown of basically what every configuration can tow. So kind of up to you depending on how much you think you're going to tow. But something that I found really interesting about this truck is that Ram actually quoted a 0 to 60 time. I don't think I have ever once seen a truck company, let alone like an HD series truck, quote a 0 to 60 time. They said that the outgoing 2500 with the Cummins diesel engine was able to run an 8-second 0 to 60 time, which is honestly kind of impressive for a big truck. But this one will supposedly do the same run in just 6.9 seconds. And since I have my race box already set up, why don't we figure out if that claim is actually true? I'm going to run it just in 2-wheel drive, even though we have optional 4-wheel drive. I'm just going to mash the throttle and let it off. We're going to, do a little bit of a burnout there, but then it grips pretty quick. And that's 60. All right, that was 60 in 7.15. Okay, so that's really not too far off of a 6.9 second claim. We did get a little bit of a one-tire fire going there, so I think if I did that launch just a little better, maybe 4-wheel drive high might actually be the superior mode to do that in. I think we could definitely do a sub 7 second 0 to 60. like I said, with over 1,000 pound-feet of torque and over 400 horsepower, this definitely doesn't feel slow. And then I told you it actually drives quite nice for being a heavy-duty truck. We've got a straight open road, so we're going to do one more 0 to 60 run here. See if we can break the 7-second mark in four-wheel high. There we go. Build it up. There we go. That's going to be a better launch. Four-wheel high is going to be the mode. There's 60. Ho ho! We beat Ram's estimate. 6.28 seconds. Four-wheel high. That's going to stop the wheel spin, get you perfect traction off the line. It was able to let me build the revs and go. Again, like I said, this truck really kind of does everything. It even has lane keep assist, which is something that I always kind of want, being a driver that doesn't typically spend a lot of time in a big HD truck like this. That's something nice on the highway. We just went over some really rough stuff. You might have seen the camera moving around, but honestly, I still think the Ram handles bumps and scrapes and stuff in the road better than the other vehicles in its segment. So if you're looking for an HD truck, you don't care about the max towing capacity, but you just want something with the best drivability, I think it's the Ram 2500. That's going to wrap up our time with the updated 2025 Ram 2500 Heavy Duty. Now, as you'd expect from any modern truck these days, the prices can range rather drastically depending on whether or not you just want a utilitarian work truck or you want something super luxurious to tow your boat or your horse trailer. Now, the base tradesman is going to start at $45,565. That doesn't include destination. And if you want four-wheel drive on that, you're going to add about $3,000 on most of the trims. The Bighorn steps you up to $49,465, both of which are available with the regular cab configuration if you don't need a back seat. A lot of these upper and middle trims are only available with the crew cab or the optional mega cab. Now, the Laramie that we're driving, this is the one I want to focus on because I do believe that this is one of the best trim levels of the Ram 2500 you can get. It offers a lot of luxury, although not all of that is going to come as standard. So it basically elevates this to a more premium truck that you'd want to drive around all of the time, but it's not as decadent or as expensive as some of the upper trims. $61,795 is what the Laramie is going to start at, but the one that we're driving is considerably more expensive. We've got a sport package here on the outside. The Cummins turbo diesel engine is a really expensive proposition at $12,500, just under that price. So the as tested price of this Laramie trim that you're looking at is about 85 grand, which is more expensive than even like the top trims of the 2500 if you don't include options like the turbo diesel. So just goes to show that even if you don't select the top trim, you can make it really pricey if you're going for a bunch of options. If you need to take this truck off-road, there are two options for you. There's the Rebel, which is $68,940, and then there is the Power Wagon, which is $72,140. So those are your off-road choices. And then if you want the most luxury you can get, the Limited Longhorn and the Limited are both about $73,400. The Limited is actually a little bit more expensive than the Limited Longhorn. I think it's mostly aesthetic differences between those two, but those prices don't include things like the diesel, and those actually have optional packages that can pull them above $90,000. So keep in mind that those can actually get more expensive as well. So let's sum up our time with the 2500 Ram. I love the Cummins turbo diesel engine. I think it is really nice, really smooth. I think that this is easily the most drivable of all of the heavy duty trucks. If you aren't towing all the time, I think there is a huge advantage to picking this over the Ford or the Chevy. I think that the technology that's in the GM trucks is a little bit better with their built-in Google technology, and I think maybe Ford has some better towing technology as well. But in terms of an all-rounder, the Ram 2500 is a truck that I really, really like. But let me know in the comments, would you buy the 2025 Ram 2500 over a Ford Super Duty or a Chevy Silverado or a GMC Sierra? I want to hear from you. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to alert you of when we post our newest videos. I'll see you next time.